Yo, what's good, guys? It's been a while since I've posted on YouTube, and usually, I bet you guys are probably expecting me to talk about maybe how strong Goku is, how strong Saitama is, Superman, or any of those characters, but I'm gonna talk about Wonder Woman. Now, the thing about this is, when it comes to DC scaling, people usually roast Wonder Woman, whether it's her losing to Lobo currently, her getting beat up by rats, or people thinking she's Superman tier and all that. However, we're going to talk about realistically how strong Diana is and where I personally think she scales on. Now, this video did take me some research to make because I had to read comics for myself for context. And basically, I had to make sure that I knew what I was saying before I actually just came up on here and said something that is basically just not true, because I don't want to spread misinformation. Now, Diana is basically a half human, half god, with her being basically the daughter of Zeus and also the daughter of Hippolyta as well. Now, gods in DC are basically extra dimensional in nature. You can argue this is already 4D, but we can actually go higher, as we know that within the context of basically the DC cosmology, we know that a reality itself is actually conceptual in nature. And we also know that within these conceptual realities, we know that also each reality basically views the other as fictional or as a comic book. Now, this would be a little shaky, but it's kind of like in the same way we humans perceive a TV as basically flat and two-dimensional. That would kind of be it in this context. And we know to make this consistent that dreams are actually realities, with there actually being higher dreams within this context, and each dream being more profound than the previous one. And there's infinite worlds, infinite limbos, infinite hells. And this will just be really consistent. And if you're still hesitant about this, there's even a scan that basically says there are dreams beyond dreams, which would mean dreams are, and by the way, something beyond is like synonymous with transcend, which would just mean to surpass in this context. And now I'm going to explain to you how Diana scales to all of this. Diana basically can harm characters like Ares, who himself is a god. And obviously, people are probably going to be hesitant because Ares does kind of have inverse over Diana. I'll get over that some other time, but if you're still hesitant, she can harm characters like basically Artemis, who was actually a god within herself. And she was actually beating Artemis so badly she had to be saved. Although this was without her bracelets, she was also harming Orion, who is a new god, with new gods being platonic in nature. That scan alone, you could argue outer, but I wouldn't use that alone. And she can also harm the firstborn. The firstborn is actually somebody who was a literal threat to the source, with the source actually being something that gives all life to the multiverse. Now, by the source, obviously I'm talking about the source wall. Like, the source and the source wall are two different things, but this would be some insane scaling for Diana. This is actually a higher end too, so this would actually put her insanely high. You also have the Chronospectre feat, which is pretty shaky because some people use this to argue she's presence tier. I don't personally agree with that, but she did manage to warp like the universe just by breaking the Chronospectre, which is impressive. So basically, let's get Diana scaling. I'm just gonna repeat what I said earlier. So like I said earlier, she basically scales the gods in DC who are higher dimensional, and they just because they're higher dimensional, this would mean they're above the base universe, and or you could argue the multiverse too. They're basically above the multiverse, since they would need avatars to interact with this lower planes of reality. The same universe, which is conceptual in nature, which each universe views the other as fictional, and then on top of that, there are basically dreams beyond dreams, and there are higher dreams as well. Infinite worlds, infinite heavens, infinite limbos. So basically, each dream would transcend the other, and since there would be an infinite amount of an outerversal hierarchy, that would be outerversal plus. And by the way, each reality views the other is fictional. So yeah, that's some consistent outer versal plus scaling. Then you have the new gods, which Dinah scales to, which are basically higher dimensional, which would mean they exceed this set thing, which would basically get these gods to high outer, and in turn Diana to high outer. So Wonder Woman should basically just be high outer versal with irrelevant speed. Thank you for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe and follow for more content.